up, you guys? This is Rob from my Guy Plays, and today on the snapshot, we're going to be taking a look at my first ever Kitgun, the Britovius, as well as exactly how I arrived on creating this specific one. Because as many people on my stream know, it was a long and arduous process involving some theory crafting, some number crunching, as well as a few test builds. So without ado, let's go ahead and jump on in. Now, straight out of the gate, one of the things that I committed to was to not spend a single ounce of standing on anything that I absolutely didn't need in order to progress to the next level. So unfortunately, no pet MOAs were made. However, those will be soon. Now, as you can see here, I actually waited until rank 3 in order to go ahead and start spending some standing. And that's mainly because at rank 3, that's where things start to get a little bit good. Now, if you guys are curious at all to see exactly where you stand and what your max standing per day is, you can go ahead and go into your profile. So just click on show profile right there. Click on syndicates, then scroll down to the syndicate you want to take a look at. So as you can see right here, this is going to be your max standing per day, and that is based off of your mastery rank. So if you watched the video where I told you to go ahead and grind out your mastery rank in order to get larger standings per day, that's going to be exactly what is affected. And then on this side right here, this is how much remaining standing you have per day. So that way you can kind of gauge, all right, what can I buy if I, wait this amount of days? How many days will it take for me to go ahead and move on to the next rank? So that's definitely something that you should be paying attention to if you want to try to progress through the ranks fast and get your hands on some of the best weapons. It gives you like a gauge as to when and where you'll be able to spend your money. So as I was trying to figure out exactly when and where I wanted to spend my standing, one of the things that I did is I jumped into Zood's inventory to kind of take a look at where everything ranked up. So as you can see right here, the only things that I'm currently missing is this last set of blueprints and the blueprints for the Paxes. Now, I went ahead and took a look at what these last few ones were on offer, and I was like, you know what? I'm really not super duper interested in those, so I figure I've got enough to work with to create a pretty damn good kit gun. So I went ahead and memorized exactly which ones these were, so when I tried to construct it, I would just be like, oh, can't use that. So as you can see right here, we went and jumped straight into building a kit gun. Because you guys know I wanted to like analyze numbers and do all of that kind of stuff, but I'll give you guys the quick basics. So as you can see here, the chamber is basically the way that the weapon is gonna fire. I believe the catch moon is gonna be kind of like an arc plasmor or like static core kind of burst, like a little blobule. And then we've got the gaze, which is gonna be a beam. Then we have the rattle guts, which is supposed to be like a rapid fire automatic. And then we have the tomb finger, which is supposed to be a semi-automatic. I actually went ahead and picked up the tomb finger. Moving along, these are going to be the different grips you have. Now these are going to dictate the kind of damage you do, your fire rates, as well as the beam range for beam weapons. So just keep that in mind. I went ahead and went with the love tap because I wanted something that hit kind of hard but wasn't necessarily the slowest. It's still not very fast, but the damage is kind of balanced, at least in my eyes, for what I wanted it to do. Now I went ahead and picked up a loader. So what I wanted to kind of clarify for these loaders, it actually balances out several stats. Number one, it balances out ammo capacity with reload speed. So you can have, a balanced reload speed and balanced ammo capacity, or you can have a high ammo capacity with a slow reload speed. And when I say ammo capacity, I mean like magazine capacity. And then it also balances out your status chance and your crit. So you can have a really, really high status with just a teensy tiny bit of crit, or you can have a really, really high crit with a teensy tiny bit of status. Me personally, I went with something that was a little bit more balanced, that was a faster reload speed. So I believe I picked up the zip needle. I don't know, we'll take a look at it when we actually jump in. So as you can see right here, ooh, maybe you can't see it, but you can kind of see it. You can kind of see, you just don't see the last number. So what you can do is you can actually go ahead and take a look at the stats. Now down here is the option to take a look at Preview Gilded. So Preview Gilded will actually give you the numbers ahead of time, and this is where Rob started getting just a little bit crazy. Now as you can see, I've got a couple different tabs open, and I actually went into Warframe Builder. So what you can do with Warframe Builder is you can actually go ahead and pick a blank weapon. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So as you can see, this is just a weapon with no stats on it whatsoever. And then you could go ahead and hit edit base stats and start putting in all of the information for your ZA. Now this is a great way to preview exactly how your ZA is going to look at statistically once you got everything done. Now as you can see here, I have two different tabs and I don't actually know if it shows it off differently. I know that this one contains the build that I currently have, and then this one, does this one have a different magazine? Well, what you could actually do is you can go ahead and edit the base stats, and you can take a look and say, okay, well there is one with a reload speed of, what do you call this? Where's my reload speed on this one? Reload speed is 0.9 on the one that I wanted. Well, there's another one that is a 0.3, but its magazine is 15. So you can go ahead and enter that, and then you can take a look at how that changes your total damage, your burst damage, your sustained DPS. And legitimately, I was doing this live in front of everybody in stream, and they're like, oh my god, Rob, that doesn't really matter. You don't really need to take that into account. And I'm like, I know, I just want to look at all of the different options. So what you can actually do is you can go ahead and put together the build ahead of time. So as you can see right here, this is the build that I went ahead and played around with, and that way you get a good look at everything that's down there on paper. One of the things that I do want to really stress to you guys, mainly because of the fact that there was a lot of talk in my stream chat about, ooh, go heavy into crit, go heavy into crit, go heavy into crit. And legitimately, if you go heavy into crit, you kind of sacrifice a lot of status. So the question is, how much status is worth sacrificing and how much status, you know, isn't worth sacrificing? For me, we actually went ahead and decided to lean slightly into crit, but not go all the way into crit so that we can have a little bit more of a balanced build. And the big reason for that is, as you guys may have seen in many videos before, I really like balanced builds because at higher levels, the armor shred or, you know, the gas procs that you can let out, you know, versus the corpus and stuff, since we are talking about Fortuna, all of that can bypass shields or strip armor will really weaken an enemy so that the crit can go ahead and really start laying in damage if you just run pure crit. And the reason that I'm stressing this is you can see burst damage and burst DPS and all of that kind of stuff, and it's always going to look bigger when you put on a lot of critical chance on that. But status doesn't really show up on Warframe Builder. So this is kind of like one of those nuances that you really want to pay attention to. Don't forget about status. Crit is great, and the way that I explain this to everybody on stream is, you know, it's really, really fantastic if you have like a 12-inch penis, but if your 12-inch penis is as thick as a chopstick, then really it's not all that fantastic. You need to have length and girth, okay? It's not just about having the length, because if you only have one without the other, it's not the most appealing. So I really plead with you guys, while crit does really look good on paper, status does help that crit to perform. So after you're done leveling your Kitgun, all you have to do is go ahead and bring it back to Rude Zood and select the other services option. There you'll be able to go ahead and guild your weapon. That'll bring its stats up to the maximum and also give you the ability to polarize and name your gun. Now, as many of you guys know, the previous series that I did with the Zaz were actually all named after Grecian deities. This, however, we decided to go with a little bit of a Celtic twist, which was decided by the stream chat. So as you can see right here, we've got the Britovius, which is the god that chooses who lives and dies in battle. Now, as you can see, this one is made up by the Tomb Finger Chamber, the Zip Needle Loader, and the Love Tap Grip. We've got a pretty good accuracy on that at 50, a nice critical chance at 31%. We did sway this towards critical just a little bit, but not like the maximum. It's also got a 2.1 times damage multiplier. We've got the fire rate at 2.5, which is, you know, a little bit lower, but we wanted it to hit hard. The magazine is only 9, but the reload speed is 0.9, which I'm very, very happy about. And of course, the IPS on this one is a little bit different. As you can see, we were running with impact, puncture, and radiation. So we've got no slash to work with, but we still managed to make it work. So let's go ahead and jump in and see exactly how this fares. I don't know why I did all of that. My hands just got a little itchy. So as you can see right here, we've got a level 160 bombard going on. Hello, Billy. And soon enough, goodbye, Billy. Well, you know, Zaws were powerful. So, I mean, you had to know that Kitguns were gonna have a little bit of a kick to them too, right? Like, you know they were gonna have just a little bit of a little teeny tiny kick to them. But trust me, that's not where this baby ends. There's still a little bit more to pay attention to. The only thing that kind of does suck with this is the fact that it does have a lot of impact built in, so you tend to stagger enemies. So it's a little bit harder to get headshots, but you know what? When you're hitting that hard, I think you'll be okay. Now, this next thing is actually something that I had to practice in order to show you, because I had to do some weird things with this. So as you can see here, we've got 3 corrupted bombards, and I'm gonna go ahead and pause their AI, which is not something that I normally do, because I have to do something weird here, okay? So I'm actually gonna go ahead and stagger this guy backwards, and I'm gonna stagger this guy backwards, or forwards, actually. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shoot the ground in front of them. So as you can see, all 3 of them are getting hit. The projectile that comes off of the Tomb Finger actually has a very small AoE. I want to say it's an AoE size of maybe 2 to 3 meters max. So you can actually hit multiple targets at once. Of course, we're not getting headshots off of this, but as you can see, it is hitting every single one of those targets, which I was like, okay, very, very interesting. I'm into it. And the great thing about this is it's got a good chunk of CC to it because it's got that radiation that's built in. So especially when you're facing, let's say, something like the infested or melee enemies, it'll actually cause them to cluster. So you'll have a nice tight cluster and you'll be able to fire these bolts into there that explode in a small area of effect, and then you're stripping armor or you're proccing gas or whatever it is, and it's just a great way to control the crowd. So I'm very, very happy with the Britovius. It was my first ever baby, but I actually am going to go ahead and explore the other guns soon enough. I just wanted to go ahead and show you exactly what it took for me to get to this place and what it resulted in. So that does about, oh wait, you probably want to know the build. Let's do that real quick. Sorry. As you can see right here, we're running a basic crit build, and we've got on some corrosive because, you know, there's no slash, so we don't need to incorporate any viral into it. But one thing I am curious about, so before we go real quick, this is something that I haven't tested yet. It's been a long day, is to grab hydraulic crosshairs, because while this does lower the base damage, I mean, this will bring us up. This will bring us up into red crit or not red crit, but orange crit territory. So let me go ahead and kill enemies, simulate. Now we have 3 enemies on the field right here, and let's see exactly how this fares. Ooh, like straight out of the gate. Straight out of the gate, we're seeing orange crits, and this thing, I mean, we're not going to get as consistent headshots, mainly because of the fact that, number 1, they are kind of jumping all over the place. But if you're into orange crits, if you're into candy corn crits, I guess we'll call it, the candy corn of crits, this is the way that you want it to go. Let's do a quick test with just 1 bombard, because legit, I mean, that was a little chaotic right there. We didn't need to have all their friends in. We just needed 1 to kind of have a nice control. So let's take a look at this real quick. You know, I still think I like Auger Pack just a little bit better, but you know, that works pretty gosh darn well too. Well, now you guys know exactly how it performs with both setups, and that about does it for me for now. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch yo Kitgun. Oh, it's so juicy. I can't wait to play with them all. Regardless, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.